I'm here a couple days a week and we have fun. We play together. And I see I've got Eric and Michelle in the background helping me on this very hot day here in LA, where I am coming to you from. It's already 80 something. It is 9 a.m. Pacific time. This is when I'm here on Thursdays. We're going to be over 100 today, so it's going to be a hot one. So if you are here joining us live on Beadaholique, I can see your comments. Let me know where you're coming from. I hope it's a little cooler where you're at. I can also see hearts. If you click on the little heart button, I get to see hearts. There's a share button if you like what you are seeing and want to share it with your friends. And then there are those that all important shopping bag icon, which has everything that you will see on my table preloaded. So if you have questions about it, if you want to add it to your shopping cart, it's right there. And I see we have Tanya and Francie and Teresa and Anne and Renee. Hello. I just saw New York, New Hampshire, Monica from Rhode Island. Hello. And Rochelle, Andrea from Connecticut, Laura in South Carolina. I see Texas, Tina, Jen, Jane. Hello from Long Island. Pamela from California. That's where I am too. I'm in Southern California. Oh my gosh, Monica says it's only 68 degrees there. I'm jealous. I'm already so hot. Alice from Cleveland. Oh my gosh, I see Florida and Louisiana. Hello. I see a couple Floridas. Oh, Susan from Seattle. Hi. Oh my gosh, I loved the Seattle summers. The Seattle summers when I grew up there were perfect because it would get hot, but it rarely got too hot. Oh my gosh, Pamela says it's going to be 104 today. Yeah, I think I saw we were going to be 101, which usually means it's going to kick a little bit higher than that. So we're probably going to be like 102, 103. It's going to be hot today. It's definitely one of those days where we kind of shut everything down and try not to use any appliances and just try to keep the AC and the fans going. 90 degrees in South Florida. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, Debbie is saying Michigan has a pre-fall day today. Oh, I like that. I bet it's beautiful. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk all about seed beads. So we often talk about them in the course of other shows, but I felt like we could really use a dedicated show because I never quite have enough time to answer all the questions about them. And so we're going to deep dive into seed beads. We're going to talk about the different types, the different shapes, the different sizes, different applications. And then because I don't feel like I want to do a class where I don't teach something, I'm going to teach you how to do daisy chain, which was one of the first bead weaving stitches I learned. So I love doing a simple little daisy chain. I think it's perfect as we're kind of winding down summer, thinking about fall. You can make it in summer colors or fall colors, so that will be fun. Oh, hello, Cricket from SoCal. That is where I am too. Oh my gosh, we are from all over the place. I love it. Kay from Orange, Texas. Hello. So a quick reminder before we get going too far, as I am seeing all these wonderful comments because people are here on Beadaholique. Now, if you are on YouTube or Facebook, please feel free to comment. Just know I can't see them live. So if you're asking a question or telling me where you're from, I can't see it. But there is a link in the description of your video. If you click on it, it will pop you over to Beadaholique, and then when you comment, we can see it live, which is great. Oh, hello, Yolanda from New Mexico. All right, so I love seed beads. I am in Claremont, so I am like the last city before you go into the next county. So I'm still LA County, but we're just on the edge. Like I could drive 30 seconds and I'd be in the next county. But I love it here. We have a beautiful little town. I'm very fortunate that we found this. We found it through pickleball. My husband plays pickleball and he was driving out here for pickleball courts. And I went with him one day and I found I was like on Zillow. I was on one of those real estate apps and I was like, oh, what houses are here? So we actually bought a house within walking distance of the pickleball courts. And it's perfect. It's a beautiful park and it's got pickleball courts. So that was how we ended up in Claremont, which is fun. I am wearing my ladybug earrings. Thank you for noticing, Tracy. So these we made in a previous show and they're so fun and easy, and I do wear them all the time now. These are my whimsical little ladybug earrings and they're check glass. And I think the ladybugs are still available. I just checked on them yesterday because I was going to buy some more for myself. So for anyone who doesn't know, we are in the process of our closing sale. So everything is 40% off. It does mean some things are selling out quickly. So just a quick note on that. I do think we still have some ladybugs though. I think the top flower might be gone, but I think we have it in other colors. So just a quick note on that, but we have so much fun. And then all of these shows are saved and archived. And so as soon as the show ends, you can go watch the replay. And then those, even when Beadaholique closes, we're going to keep our YouTube channel up. So you're going to still be able to see all these videos and all the wealth of knowledge of the last 25 years will still be available on the YouTube channel to view. So I wanted to quickly note that because that's important. There's a lot of good stuff up there. Oh, thank you. I do. They're so simple. There's not a lot to these earrings, but I really love them and they swing. They're fun. Oh, the lavender ladybugs are really cute too. Yes, Laura, I like those ones. I know exactly the ones you're talking about. All right. Oh, I love it. Okay, we have such a good community here. We are all friends. This is fun. Okay, I'm going to flip my camera down because I got a lot to show you. I pulled a ton of seed beads. We're going to talk about them and definitely ask questions. So if you have a question, I will do my best to answer it. Michelle is also a beader. She can answer questions. Eric too. And some of it's going to be my personal opinion, like which seed beads I like best for which application. But again, there's more than one way to make jewelry. So I'll let you know if that's just kind of my personal opinion because we all do things differently and that's wonderful. That's what makes it unique and special and artisan is that we all have our own take. But I will share what I like to use for certain applications. All right, guys, let's flip our camera down so we can see what we've got to play with. Okay, hot backyard. All right, so I pulled a bunch today, and like I said, I'm gonna teach you how to do daisy chain, just because it's a really fun technique, and I haven't shown it before in a live video, so I do want to show you how to do it. It's really fun and easy. Okay, so I'm just pulling my hair back so it's not in my camera. So this is daisy chain. I'm gonna show you it to begin with here, what it looks like. This is really simple to do and it's really fun and it uses seed beads. You can actually do a lot with them. You can do it in different sizes. You can do different spacer beads, a lot of fun things you can do with daisy chain. So I'm going to show you that here in just a few minutes. But I wanted to just show you some of the different uses that I have done for seed beads and then we'll talk about the actual seed beads. All right, so this here is peyote stitch. When I'm doing peyote, I really like to use cylindric beads. So there are pretty much, well, there's hex and there's different varieties. I don't want to say there's just two types of seed bead shapes. There's round and cylindric are, I'd say, the most common. And I want to give you a side-by-side comparison just to start us off here. So I took a little pin here. So Miyuki Delicas and Toho rounds. Here's a side-by-side. So here's what's interesting. These are both considered a size 11 seed bead. You have the Delica here, which is cylindric in shape. So it's more like a narrow profile cylinder, if you can see that. Then you have a Toho round. This is also size 11, but it's more of a rounded shape. So they're both size 11, but there actually are side by side a different size. The cylinder is a little bit smaller than the round. So when you're looking at your designs and you're planning things out, often you can swap a cylinder for a round, but you have to note that it might not end up being the exact same dimensions as the pattern. So if you have a pattern for using rounds, but you swap in cylinders, even if you're still using 11s, your size might be a little bit different. So you might have to accommodate that. So I love to use the cylinders for peyote. So this is peyote because you see how they lock together really nice and tightly. So they form a really nice, like almost like a consistent fabric. There's not a lot of air between them. Now for me, I love to use the rounds for loom. So here is the rounds for loom. And you see there's a little bit more air between them. Like look right there. We can see a little bit more air. And so what you can do is you could use Delicas for loom, and it is beautiful. I personally love to do the loom with the rounds. I think that it just creates a really pretty effect, but it's definitely personal preference. I just saw a question, how do you accommodate for the difference? So usually what you are the area that you're gonna have the most difficulty with the difference is, let's say you have a loom pattern and it calls for toho rounds like this one. And it's gonna tell you how many beads across to fit your finding, your clasp here. So we see it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. So this is 15 across if it's the toho rounds. Now, if you swapped this pattern for delicas, let's see what 15 delicas might look like. That's a great question. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so here is 15 delicas, and let's see how wide that is. So look at how much smaller that is. So what you're going to have to do to deal with it is you're going to have to adjust your pattern. So if you want to use the same finding, you're going to have to make it a wider bracelet in terms of the number of beads across. And this is a great way of doing it, is to just put them onto a head pin and then line it up against your clasp. And so this is a 2-inch head pin. So this is just a little head pin. I love using it to stick seed beads on when I'm trying to show them. It's easier than having my fingers in the way. So you can either then use a smaller finding, you can use a smaller clasp, or you can make your pattern bigger. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are going to swap out the different shapes of seed beads. And it is a little confusing because when I first started, I was like, well, they're both size 11. They should be the same. And they're not. So that's something just to keep in mind. So yeah, this is just a little 2-inch head pin. It's really easy as a little guide. Okay. So speaking of sizes, I wanted to do a size comparison here on camera so that you can see it. I want to do so we have a size 15. So this is going to be probably the smallest seed bead you are going to find. This is a little 15. So I'm going to do a little size comparison with 15s, 11s, 8s, and a 6. So you can see them all lined up because they do get really big really fast. I'm going to do it all with toho round, so all the same shape. So I'm going to put a couple 15s on, followed by a couple 11s, followed by a couple 8s. And if you want to see any of these colors, they are there in the shopping bag. I know Michelle's probably trying to see what I'm using. So here's a little side-by-side comparison. So here we go. These are 15s, itty bitties, followed by 11s, followed by 8s, followed by 6s. And you can see how drastically that size changes. It is a huge, huge variation. Now, what's nice is the little itty bitties are great for very fine, delicate work. I think the 11s and the 8s are probably the most commonly used. And then the 6s are nice because they have a big hole. And that big hole will actually let you put more things through it, like a textile, like a fabric, not a fabric, but like an amite cord or a leather cord. You can do a lot with this for like macrame, which is really nice, or kumihimo. You could also do kumihimo with the 8s really easily as well. So how do you figure out what size finding? So what I would do is, if you have your beads at home, and let's say you are trying to see like how wide a swatch is going to be, I would either do up a little tester swatch, measure it across, and then find the corresponding finding that's the right size. If you don't want to go to the work of the tester swatch, I would do basically what I just did. I just lined them up on a head pin, and then you can measure that. And then you take that measurement and you look on the website and it will tell you. I think these here are 20 millimeters across. So it should tell you, all the findings should tell you their dimensions. And then you can find one that will match. Great question though. So for the 11s, I want to show some different projects using 11s. So here are a couple projects using 11s. 11s I think are wonderful for loom work. Then you can also do 11s if you are going to do like little bits of like accents. This is kind of like a little swag fringe as well. You can do it with fringe. Fringe is great for 11-0 tohos. And then like this little daisy chain is combining 11s for the flowers with 8s for the centers. And then, oh, that's a great question, Diane. So a 1.5 millimeter hex. So I'm going to let Michelle do some digging and math for that one because I don't know the sizes in millimeters because I'm used to seeing the sizes in like 8-0s and 11-0s, but I'm going to let Michelle see if she can figure that out. That is a great question. So then when we move up to the 8s, here's Kumihimo done with 8s, but what's really cool is this here is still all seed beads, but this is combining 8s and 6s. So you can combine different sizes of seed beads within the same project, but it creates a different effect because you're playing with the sizes. So you see how we have a kind of a recessed spiral and we have a raised spiral here. Oh, okay, Diane, great. So they're cubes. Yeah, so there are, so that is the thing too. So oftentimes we think of like the round seed beads, the cylindric seed beads as the traditional seed beads, but there's also hex beads, cube beads. I've got some Demi rounds as well. So this is what a Demi round looks like. And this is still considered a seed bead. So this is a size 8 Demi, and this is a size 11 Demi. And I'm going to put these up side by side with their round counterparts. But these are like a little squished seed bead. So it's almost like it's not quite half, I don't think, but they're very narrow. So they're great for spacers, especially if you're doing bead weaving projects. And I wanted to show a side by side because this is another question that has come up is how do the Demi rounds compare to regular rounds? Yeah, they do. They look totally like little donuts. That's a great way of describing them. Okay, so I'm going to take my handy little head pin back and I'm going to put a couple 11-0 Demis compared to some 11-0 regular. And I've used a lot of that purple. I want to look at a different color. I'm going to pull out just your nice traditional turquoise. This is a seed bead that I use all the time. And we're also going to look at finishes too, because that's another thing. So when you are looking at seed beads, you're looking at the size, you're looking at the shape, and you're looking at the finish in addition to the color. Okay, so these are all toho that we're looking at. So there are 5 11-0 Demi rounds sitting right next to 5 11-0 toho rounds. And you see how much narrower they are. But they're great little spacer beads. So I don't think I have any example here of how I use them as a spacer bead. But let's say you have a project like this, which is memory wire. And here I did use some little seed beads as spacers. So that's why I pulled this as an example. But the little Demis would be great for that too. They're also really good for narrow corners around bead weaving projects. So if you just have a tight little corner and a round seed bead is too thick for it, the Demis are great. And then I want to show a side-by-side comparison of the 8-0s. So here's another really pretty color of these 8-0s. This is a mauve mocha. Hello, Debbie. We are learning all about seed beads, and we're also going to learn how to do a daisy chain today. Okay, so let's do these little 8-0s. We're going to do 5 of them as well. So again, we can see that side-by-side comparison, and hopefully this will help you guys when you're planning out your projects and picking your beads to kind of have a good, better understanding of which ones you're going to want. So again, look how much narrower it is. So here's 5 8-0 Demis side by side with 5 8-0 rounds. Again, they're both toho, and they're just that different shape. And I do love the Demis. The Demis really have grown on me a lot. They're kind of a newer thing. Newer, and I mean, they've been out for a while, but I feel like your traditional round seed beads have definitely been out longer. But something to keep in mind when you are shopping for seed beads, but the Demis are really cool. The colors do look good together. Oh guys, I was having fun picking colors. You know me, I can't help but play. Okay, so I wanted to show those. So speaking of colors, I just will show you some of the really pretty range of colors, and then let's look at their finishes as well. So we're going to do the daisy chain out of this one here. This is an 11-0. It's Ceylon Gladiola. So that's really pretty. And then this is an amethyst gunmetal. So it has almost a little bit of a metallic sheen to it. Those are what we're going to use for our flowers. I did want to pull out though this. So if you are working with let's say you're doing gold findings, but you don't necessarily want to maybe invest in or have extra gold metal beads in your design, a gold seed bead is a really nice way, as you can see here, to bring that metal element that matches your finding into your design. So you can pick gold and silver seed beads to accent your findings as well, which is nice. So there's gold. Now this is interesting because this is a silver lined medium topaz. So when you look at a silver lined, I have a couple here. And I'm going to show you all of them because I want to show this, because silver lined are interesting. They definitely look like they've got metal to them, and they're a little bit on the glowy side. So they really are shiny. Let me show you some different silver lined ones. Okay. And guys, I did try to pick out, for the most part, seed beads that are all currently in stock. I know we're selling out a lot because of the going out of business sale, with everything being 40%. I did try to pick ones that were in stock. I think I only have 1 or 2 that were not in stock that I'm showing. But look at these. So these are all silver lined. So this is what a silver lined seed bead looks like. So if you look really closely, I'm going to put my camera up a little bit. Let's see if this works. It's almost like you can see through the edges of them. So they're a little bit transparent, but they've got that nice silver lining to them, which makes them feel like a metal almost. And they're a great way of adding a really nice pop of sparkle to your design. So that's if you want silver lined. Now, if you want something like, there's just so many fun colors here. There's also like seafoam lined. So this is a seafoam lined bead. And so it's got that inside color with an outer, like a golden outer glass color. And these are all glass, but inside color is the seafoam lined. Oh, Lisa, I know, me too. I love seed beads. Well, seed beads are just so versatile. You know, as we're talking about their applications, I feel like you can use them for everything. You can use them for kumihimo. You know, I even pulled this out because this was a previous class. If you want to go back and rewatch how to make it, these are just 8-0 seed beads along the edge here. So the same seed beads that were used for the kumihimo project could be used here for a wrap bracelet. And this is just a little 4mm check glass bead in the middle. But seed beads are really great, and they're a great value too, because you see that most times you get a big tube, and this is going to really extend your design. So that is a really fun thing. And then I wanted to show you this color here. So this is a transparent, look at this title, Transparent Rainbow Frosted Dark Peridot. All right. So the color itself is dark peridot, and this is how you read this. So the color itself is dark peridot. Then it is frosted, which means it has a bit of a matte finish to it. So if we look at this, it's not quite matte, but it's almost like, think of old frosted glass, or sometimes around the holidays, you see a lot of like frosted vases and decorations and things like that. So it's got a little bit of a shine to it, but it's definitely not as shiny as like an opaque. And then let's see what else it said. Rainbow. So rainbow is going to give you a little bit of an AB finish. So when you see something that says rainbow on it, it's going to have a little bit of a colorful shimmer. And then what else was it? Transparent. So transparent, of course, means see-through. So it's a little bit see-through. It's a bit matte. It has a colorful sheen to it for that rainbow. And then the color itself is dark peridot. Kind of like sea glass, yes. Oh, and then speaking of sea glass, I have to show you guys one of my favorite things that came out from Toho, and it had to have come out 2-3 years ago. They have a line called Reglass. And Reglass, to me, looks like sea glass. And it comes in brown, and it comes in green, and it comes in blue. And these are all there in the shopping bag. But they're so pretty. And again, the finishes are really what make the difference, because this is still a brown, the same brown color. This is the same green, and this is the same blue, but it looks entirely different based on the finish. And I think that's most apparent here in like the green. So if we just do a side by side, this is a transparent green. So transparent green. And then this is a matte transparent green. And look how much that color changed. Yeah, totally looks like sea glass. I love the Reglass. See, it says right here, Reglass. So it definitely looks like sea glass. So when you are coming up with your colors and you're picking it out for your design, pay attention to not only the color, but the finish. All those extra things that are on there that are talked about, pay attention to them, because there's even like, here, this is a rainbow. So this is like a transparent rainbow. And it's the same bead, but looks different. Yeah, right? It's so different. So another tip as you are coming up with your designs, let's say you're doing some loom work, play with the finishes because it will help your designs to pop. Like in this one here, the turquoise is matte. So the matte is providing a nice finish contrast to the other beads. And this one has like a Picasso finish. Kind of like this. This is a hybrid sour apple. Yeah, hybrid sour apple Picasso. So when you see Picasso, it's kind of like a modeled look. You know what? Hybrid is interesting. I'm going to let Michelle see if she has the proper definition for it. I think it's the combination of several different finishes. The Picasso finish is a finish. So if you ever see Picasso, it's going to be like this earthy mottled look on it. And I'm going to show you this one up close because it's really pretty. So here it is. It's got a sour apple, like that nice kind of tangy green under. But on top of it, it's got a lot of color happening. So it's got a lot of brown, darker green, and that's Picasso. So you'll oftentimes see a lot of Picasso finishes. I love them personally. They look very antique-y, very organic. They just create a different look for your bead. All right, so there, we're gonna put that away. So we're gonna do the daisy chain in just a moment. I wanna make sure I show you all these different ones though. All right, oh, there's another seed bead you'll see. This is a Matubo 10-0. So there are 10-0s as well. And this is a cylindric shape. So this is nice because it's just a little bit bigger. So this is between the 11 and the 8. So remember that the larger the number, the smaller the bead. So your 15 O's, this, the bigger number is going to be the smallest bead. Your 6 O's are going to be, where's my 6s? I have 6s somewhere. Your 6 O's with the smaller number is going to be a bigger bead. Almost like the inside of an avocado when it goes bad. Yes, totally. All right, so I think I've covered most of the finishes. Rainbow is kind of the name for like AB. So if you see like AB, you usually don't see AB on a seed bead, you see rainbow. There's also luster, which is like a warm sheen. It can be kind of glossy, which is really nice. And then if you're just looking to play with seed beads, there's a lot of seed bead blends out there. And I love seed bead blends because I think they work really well for projects. So if you want to get a bunch of different colors of seed beads all at once, then this is a great way of doing it to get some of these really pretty blends. Oh, Lisa, that is a great comment. You know what? So Lisa's saying, why do people in the US say 11-0 and not size 11? You know what? I don't know. I was taught 11-0. I've also heard 11-aught. as a way of saying it, or size 11. I mean, all means the same thing. I think it's just however you were taught. But that is a great question. Yeah, so these are size, like when we were looking at these little ones we're going to do with our daisy chain, that is size 11. But I want to show you these really pretty mixes too, because sometimes you'll get like hex beads or bugle beads in the mix, which are really fun for fringe earrings as well. Bye, Sue. Thank you for joining us for sure. Okay, guys, I want to do the daisy chain. Okay, so I'm going to start one from scratch here. This again is what daisy chain looks like. This was one of the very first seed bead projects I ever learned how to do. It is a really simple little stitch, and you do it with seed beads here. Okay, and then I do have a couple more seed beads. I realized I didn't show you these great ones, which are these Icos by Toho beads, so I'm going to show you those too, but I want to make the daisy stitch. All right, so I'm going to use some 1G thread, and let me cut this off so we can start from scratch. Okay. And if anyone has any questions, just let me know. Okay, so I'm going to use some 1G thread, and I just have a size 11 beading needle. I put my little sample swatch. So you are not going to start with a knot, because you would end up finishing it with a clasp or however you want to do it. And to do this, you pick up 4 of your petal color. So whatever your outside color is, and these are 11-0 Toho rounds, and this is that Cylon Gladiola. And then I'm going to pick up the metallic amethyst gunmetal. So here we've got 4 seed beads, and we've got the 5th one, and we're going to slide it on down. And then you're going to go back down through your first bead. And normally when we're doing bead weaving, and you've seen me, we've gone this way to create a loop. We're not going to go this way. We're going to go down through it right like here. So there we go. So you see, we've created 1/2 of our little flower. And because we have a cluster of 4 here with 2 petals on the side and 2 center beads, we only need 2 more petals. So we're going to pick up our same color of petal flower. And you can imagine how many colors you could do this in. It's really could be very fun. Okay, so now we're going to go back up through the seed bead of our petal flower that's on top of our center bead. So now we're just going to go up through it. And we made a daisy. So it was really easy to do. Now you could choose, you can put an 8-0 between it. You could put Demi rounds between it. You could put some other seed beads. Like I've got this little cylinder one just hanging out here. So let's do a little variation here. So here's that pretty little cylinder one. You can slide that down to create a little bit of space between your flowers. And it could be green too, of course, whatever color you want. And now when you create your next flower, it's the same way you started. You just do 4 of your petal color, 1 of your center color, and you could go crazy and have so much fun with this. Diane, I understand. It's so fun. I think that seed beads are so versatile. I love seed beads. I feel like of all the beads out there in the world, seed beads really feel like the most versatile. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back down through that first petal bead. So I did try to pick out some of my favorites, and I put them in that shopping bag. So if you are having a hard time deciding and it's just too many to look at, check out that shopping bag, because I did pick out some of my favorite colors, especially those blends are so pretty, and to be able to get them at 40% off is pretty awesome. Okay, so then we're going to pick up 2 more and just go through that top bead again, that top petal bead above our center. And then I'm going to show you something that I really like about this. So it's very easy to scoot this. So if you see how there's a bit of air right there, you just can pull it down with your fingernail to cinch it up and close up that air space. So I'm going to do it again. This time I'm going to add just one of these sour apple beads between it. And then we're gonna scooch that one down. So you see it creates a different look if we're doing the little cylinders between it. If you're doing an 8-0, you can really play. You can put even metal beads between it. You can put whatever you like. So now I'm gonna do another flower. And then this is just called a daisy chain. And you can make bracelets, you can make earrings, necklaces, whatever you like about it, with it. Okay, again, 4 little beads, and then that center one, go down through just the petal bead, and then 2 more petal beads. And of course, this is taking a little longer because I'm talking through it. I'm also reaching around my camera, but if you're at home doing this, you are gonna have a wonderful, quick little chain of daisies. There you go. And then you just keep going. And they're so cute. I love it. Okay, all right. I'm gonna do one more so we fully get the idea of how to do this, but it's really sweet. It's a fun little stitch to do. You can do it in any color. Now, I will say I have tried to do daisies with cylinders before. You can, so the cylinder would be like the Mayuki Delica. It would be the Icos that I'm going to show you here in a minute. You can definitely do it. They don't look quite as round at the end of the day. They end up with a little bit more of sharp edges, but you can definitely do it for a different look. Okay, and then we're going to go up through this one. And daisy. And again, there's that little gap of air. You just slide it on down. And it should just slide for you. There you go. There's our little daisies. And you would just keep going as long as you want to. And then you're going to end up with a chain of delicate little flowers. Can you do this with Demis? That is a great, great question. Let's try it. Let's try to see if it'll work with Demis. I think you might need more Demis, but let's try it the same exact pattern with Demis. Okay, I think you would need still a center round though, and let's see what happens. So let's do the same size. We're gonna do all the same. So 4 size 11s, and then the little round. This is the beauty of the lives. I love it. Oh, thank you, Miss J. Okay, so I didn't put a little spacer bead between. Let's do it. I like having the little spacer bead. It gives me a little bit more room to do this. Okay, so let's put that sour apple spacer bead. Let's go pick up our beads again and see what a 11-0 demi round daisy is gonna look like. Oh, thank you, Francie. Have a good day at work. All right. So now we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna just go through. I should have picked one of the other colors. I have other colors of Demis here. So the Demis come in a lot of colors, which is nice. And we're gonna see if this works and what it looks like. Okay, so I pulled it down and went through it. And let's pick up 2 more and go through that top one. And see what we got. All right, so this is what a little demi round flower looks like. I don't think it sits quite as well. So I would probably want to modify the design. And I think what I would do is maybe add more demis to accommodate them being smaller around that center flower. So I don't know if it quite works the same way with the Demis, but that was a great question. That's why we do this, is to experiment. Okay, so again, here's what it would look like with the rounds if you were to just keep going on your chain, and that's daisy chain. So I do want to show you another brand of cylinder. So I often talk about Mayuki Delicas because that's kind of what I learned on. So here's Mayuki Delicas. We only have like 4 colors left of Delicas on the whole Beadaholique website. They are selling out very fast. These are Toho Icos, and they are oh so cylindric, and I love their colors. I love, love, love their colors. They have some gorgeous colors, and they are a nice cylindric 11-0. It shows you get 4 grams in a bag. So this is what they are. So those are really a nice option too. if you're going to do something like the peyote stitch, like here, or you want to do like the top of this earring I wanted to show is brick stitch. So your cylinders are really nice for brick stitch. They sit nice together on top of each other. So that's kind of a fun thing. All right, so I want to see if I covered everything. There are, of course, even bigger beads here. These here, I think, are like a size, I want to say like a size 2 or 3. So these almost get into that pony bead size. These are really large beads. Yes, I love that palette too. I think that's why I ordered these. I think this was going to be a fall project. I think they'll be really pretty together. Okay, Tohos and Delicas, great question. So Toho, okay, this is a good way of explaining it. Toho is the brand. So Toho makes Icos, Toho makes the Demi rounds, Toho makes the regular rounds. There's also Toho Treasures. There's a bunch of different Toho beads. Now the shape is the Ico. The shape is the Demi round. The shape is the round. Or I guess the style, I guess maybe I should say the style name is Ico and the shape is more of a cylindric shape. So they're technically all Toho beads, but they're very different from each other. They're all Toho seed beads. Now Delica is like the Ico, it's like the shape name. It is made by Miyuki. So Miyuki is the company that makes the bead. Delica is the style name for the cylindric shape. But that was a great, great question. You said the tube with all the different seed beads are good for fringe, right? Yes. So these tubes here, if you look at these guys, these would be good for fringe because they've got some little bugle beads in them. So if you're doing a fringe earring or a fringe something else, oftentimes you'll see bugle beads. That's what these nice long skinny beads are. You'll see them incorporated into a fringe design. They create like a nice dramatic effect. So what's nice is a lot of the blends that I pulled have some little bugle beads in them. So that's a nice, spill beads. So that's nice because you've got a bunch of different colors to play with and you've got the bugle beads in there as well. So that's a good question. Yeah, I love the bead mixes because they're a really nice way of getting a bunch of different seed beads in one tube, especially if you're a person who loves to do different types of projects. Like maybe for some projects, you're going to use them as spacer beads, like here. This was just memory wire, but I kind of extended almost my more expensive beads. One, it gave them room to breathe, but it's a nice way of extending your design. And then you can do, you could do all sorts of stuff. You could incorporate a little swatch of a different shaped bead into kumihimo, lots of things. Yes, you would add two. So yes, you're right. Good observation. So where is that earring? So this one, bugle beads come in different sizes. I want to say this is a size 3. I'm not as versed in bugle beads as I am in seed beads. So this is a longer bugle bead. We do sell some longer bugle beads. I know that Michelle can probably find some to add to that shopping bag. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Those are the biggest size. They are 3s. Okay. Oh, that was for Rosetta. So these are 3s. These are size 3 seed beads. And then here you go. This is a bugle bead fringe earring, and you're right. These bugle beads are bigger and longer than the ones in here. So you could either stack them or you could put a little seed bead between them and create a different design. So you can add more of them, less of them. You could put in these little turquoise beads, that as well. We do have a video on how to do a fringe earring, and it's going to not be these exact beads, but it's going to be the same concept here where you start with a ladder stitch. You go into a brick stitch, which naturally decreases, which is really handy, and then the fringe. So we definitely have a video on how to do a fringe earring that looks pretty much exactly like this. Yes, Icos and Delicas are different. So they are both cylindric in shape. One is made by Miyuki, one is made by Toho, and they are a different bead, but they are both that kind of the similar cylindric shape. Great question. So does anyone have any other questions for seed beads before we wrap this up? And then this replay will become available, of course, as soon as the show ends. We still have quite a few beautiful colors of seed beads in stock here at Beadaholique that are all 40% off now, which is really nice. All the blends are 40% off as well. So a good time to kind of, if there's some colors you want to play with, now is a good time to get them on sale. Oh, good. Oh, perfect. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Can you do the fringe with head pins or wire? Oh, that's a great question. So yes, you can do a fringe. You can do a fringe. Let's just play here for a minute. I think I know what you're talking about. So I don't think you could do it with wire per se. Wire is going to be a lot harder, but you could put on a bunch, and I've seen this as a design. It's a different look than the drapey fringe that you do with the thread, but I have seen people put beads on a head pin, create a little loop, and then they need to attach it to usually a metal component. So it might be even something like this, where it's got like a metal bar. I put the silver version of these in the shopping bag. We're all out of the gold. It's sold out. But I've seen definitely where people loop it and they create a fringe this way. And then they would just graduate the size and add more beads. So if you can kind of see, you can make them longer or shorter, and you would do the same type of bead pattern here where you just make it a little bit longer. But if you want this drape effect, you're going to want to use something like the 1G, which is a very soft and drapey thread to create the drape with the seed beads. Oh, good, Debbie J. I am so glad. Well, I know that we often get questions about seed beads, and I always feel like I never can, lay them out and fully answer them, give them the real explanation that they need, because it is a lot to look at it. Like when we looked at this beautiful color here, it was transparent rainbow frosted dark peridot. That's a lot. And the color is just that dark peridot. Everything else is like a finish or the way it's made with being transparent. So that's just something that, I really wanted to point out, is all these different finishes, like this beautiful matte transparent. So look how beautiful that is. But the color itself is blue. And it's the same blue, believe it or not, as this blue. It's the same blue, but this is a silver lined. This is a silver lined one here. Yes, there are so many things you can do with seed beads. So in addition to, of course, the daisy chain and the fringe earrings, you can, of course, do kumihimo, which we love. Kumihimo, these are just 8-0 toho rounds. This one's mixed with 6s. And then you can do, this is just a beautiful basic size 11 one in turquoise. You can do your peyote stitch. You can do rapid loom projects. Like this one has a center of a check glass bead, but you don't have to. This could have all been seed beads in any pattern you like. And then of course you can do loom projects, which are so pretty and become fabric-like. So a lot you can do. So perma finish, that's a great question. So I think both of these beads here might be perma finish. So I don't honestly know the exact definition of perma finish. I know that whenever I see a bead that says perma finish, it kind of has like a metallic look to it. So when you see that perma finish, is kind of like a really bright, sparkly metallic. But that is a great question. Yes, so 1G thread could be substituted, like Michelle is saying, for NYMO or KO. Both are this really nice, soft, drapey nylon thread. And if you want your projects to drape, this is what you're going to use. So that's why we use it for loom. So loom is going to be using the 1G thread as well, because we want it to have that softness to it. That's why we also are using it for fringe. If you want something to have a lot of stiffness to it and more body, you're going to use a different thread. Kumihimo uses Eslon. You can also use Amiot. Is that good for bead weaving too? Yes. So this is an interesting thing, and this has come up quite a few times lately, and so I think this is a good thing to talk about. A lot of times what you choose for your jewelry making comes down to what you just enjoy working with. So I have designer friends who use 1G for all their bead weaving projects, and they love it. I use it for some of my bead weaving projects. If I want to make a bracelet, let me see if I have one. Okay. If I want to, I don't have one handy. If I wanted to make a bracelet that has a lot more structure to it and is stiffer, I'm going to usually choose a wildfire or a fire line. And that's because the thread itself, if you were to like look at it, it has a lot more body to it. It's stiffer. So I choose my thread usually based upon my project, but I switch between 1Gs and wildfire. But like I said, I know some designers who use exclusively 1G for all their bead weaving, or they use exclusively Fireline or exclusively Wildfire. So I just saw a good question about Eslon and 1G. So Eslon and 1G are quite different actually. Eslon is a very thick, by comparison, a very thick cord, it's like a spool and is quite thick. And that's what you're going to be using for like your macrame projects or your kumihimo. The 1G is very, very thin and soft and pliable. And I love 1G that it comes in a bunch of colors. So that's a really nice thing about 1G. Wildfire and Fireline, you're more limited in your color choices. But 1G comes in a bunch of colors. Yeah, and Candy's saying, I tend to like the stiffness of Wildfire. Yeah, so it really is. I tend to usually go towards Wildfire for stiffness as well with the bead weaving projects. But again, it's personal preference. However, if I am going to do peyote, I do tend to like to use something like a 1G because it's just disappears. So this was done here. You can see that stitching along the side. If I had used Wildfire for this, that would be a lot more noticeable. But this kind of blends away from a distance. You don't see that stitching as much. So great question. Another thing is you also have to think how many passes are you going to do through it. If you need a really, really thin thread to do multiple passes, then 1G is a great option for that as well. All right. Oh, thank you, Kat. I love doing this, and I love hopefully sharing some of this knowledge that makes it easier for you guys to design and pick out, the beads you want to play with and understand what they all mean. Because we've all ordered. I just ordered something the other day, and I really thought I was getting something this big, and I got something really tiny, and it's adorable, and I'll use it. But it's, it's good to understand like the sizing differences and comparisons. What about fine S-long? Oh, you know what? I think I know what you're talking about it. I've seen that used for like micro macrame. I haven't used it for bead weaving. Also with like an S-long, you can't usually get a traditional beading needle onto it. You can get a big eye needle or a twisted wire needle, but it does make it harder to do the multiple passes. If you are doing, like, let me grab one bracelet because it's right here. Okay. So if you are doing something where you're bead weaving and you're having to do multiple passes, that's another thing to take into consideration. If you have a much thicker textile that you're using, a thicker thread, it's going to be harder to go through the beads in a bunch of different directions. Will one size needle fit through all seed beads? No, not necessarily. I think your size 11 and even your 10 is going to go through most seed beads. If you get any bigger than that, you're going to start to struggle. Let's see here. I have 15s. This is a size 11 needle, and I'm going to put some 15s on it. And that went through just fine. So an 11 needle works totally fine for 15s. But that's a really good question. I tend to stick with 10s and 11s. 12s, I have a hard time threading these days. I struggle getting the thread through the hole and seeing the little eye of them. So I tend to avoid 12s. But That's a great question. Candy saying 12 for size 15s. So that's a great knowledge to share. Thank you, Candy. So yeah, 12 for, so this is an 11 and they are working, but perhaps if you start to do a lot of thread passes through it, you might start to get a little bit stuck. Yeah, Tracy, I do too. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I really like 10s and 11s. They're pretty standard, but I love it that multiple passes is where you come into issues. Yes. Thank you, Candy. That's perfect. So a size 13 is a good, or I'm sorry, a 12 is a good recommendation for the size 15s. The itty bitties. They're so cute though. I love it. So, all right, guys. Let's see. Okay. Any other questions before we wrap it up? And of course, in any future shows, definitely feel free to ask questions if you think of any after the show. I'm here again on Monday at 2 o'clock Pacific time. Feel free to ask questions about seed beads, even if we're not doing a seed bead show. I'm here to help for sure. So just let me know. And I'm considering for Monday's show, I got to figure it out. I'm considering doing a beaded tassel with seed beads. So I might kind of continue my play with seed beads into Monday to create a beaded tassel, which would kind of start to incorporate using like the fringe technique to do that as well. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Marianne. All right, guys. That quick reminder, if you do have anything in your shopping cart, please remember to check out. Everything is 40% off. And then stock is limited because it is our closing sale. Like I said, I tried to start the show with most everything in stock. So if you see a color you like, hopefully it's still available. All right, thank you guys. I'm going to flip the camera up so we could say goodbye for today, and then we'll check back in on Monday. All right, thank you guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to try to stay cool. We're heating up. All right, thank you, Lisa and Rosetta and Debbie. Thank you guys for joining me today. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Let me know if you are going to do some beading. Share what you're going to be beading with me on Monday, and we'll have more fun. I'm going to try to work on that beaded tassel. That sounds like a really fun thing. I'm going to see if I can whip that up. And I still have the flat Kumihimo show planned. I'm just waiting for the supplies. All right, bye everyone. Take care.